Hi, and welcome to Finance Tips, our workshop for today. It's going to be a great workshop with our CFWC finance team, helping out each of you. You should have received a handout. If you didn't, please get in touch with Lynn Youngstrom at reservationscfwc@gmail.com. This is going to be a wonderful workshop. I am always excited to hear about the left side of the brain work because I'm so right-sided, but we all have to know everything in order to get things done. That's the truth of it. We are filming today, and once this film becomes available, it will be up on our California Federation Facebook page for a limited time. If you are not part of that Facebook group yet, you don't have to join, you just have to find us. And it is the GFWC, California Federation of Women's Clubs page. So before we get started, I want to bring in our first Vice President Dean, she called me this morning and said she was done with all of her stuff and getting it off in the mail. Barbara Briley-Beard, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, woohoo. I just came back from the post office. My reports are gone. So I just poured a glass of wine. I know it's early, but oh my goodness, I'm so glad that the reports are done. Oh, you're going to be proud. You know, all that I can say is reading all these reports, though my living room and office and den are a mess. Wow, it sure makes me proud to be part of all of you because the reports are fantastic. So thank you. Excellent. And I'm looking forward to our finance team tips too.
Yay.
Good to see you all.
Okay, Sonia, housekeeping, please.
Hey, everyone. So first thing we need to do is see if you can participate in the workshop. Do you know where to raise your hand? You can either do it on the bottom of your screen. Please practice. We'd love to know that you know what to do. Or you can go to the right hand, you take your mouse, roll over your screen, little three dots on the right hand side of the screen, and then you raise your hand, and then you know how to lower it. But I'm more than willing to help you with lowering your hand when the time comes. Okay, everyone lower, please. All right, so I need to ask permission to take your photo at the top of every hour or when a speaker begins to speak. I will be taking a photo. If you do not want your photo taken, then what you do is you take your, you can do one of two ways. You can go to the bottom left-hand side of your screen where it says stop video. You can stop video. That does not mean that you are leaving our room. It means that you are just not able to see anything but a black screen with your name on it. That's right, very good, and you're welcome to practice that. Let's say that your husband wants to talk to you for a minute, or your dog comes running across and bumps into your chair and knocks you over. That gives you a chance to put yourself back together again a little bit before we all get to see what's going on. So you are always welcome to stop your screen, take care of your business, and then start your screen again. And that gives you the freedom to do that. There are two ways to view today. If you take your mouse and go to the very top right-hand side of your screen, you have two different views. You have a gallery view where you see everyone that's in the room. And then you have a speaker view. And that is when the one or two people are speaking, then that will show you just that person. Now that leads us to the next comment, and that is, that's why we keep the room muted. If you stay on mute, two things don't happen. The feedback from all the different speakers are not happening during someone else's speech. And then if you sneeze, then that doesn't become everyone's view as you're wiping your nose. Is that all good with everyone? Okay, very good. Oh, I love all of you. It's so good to see all of you so much. Now I have a special request from this group of ladies that's doing the finance team. They have requested that tonight, because there are so many people attending and we want to say thank you and we love that you are here, that you limit your questions to one, just one question apiece. Is that good with everyone? I love it. Thank you. You guys are the best. All right, back to you, Pam.
Okay, yes, welcome all of you, including our out-of-state guests. I know we have West Virginia, Idaho, and Washington State coming to most of our workshops now as well. And so we are very happy to be able to host these ladies. It's getting a little late there, so I'm sure they have some wine too, Barbara. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce, I believe they're going to go in order of Jill, Marcia, and Reggie. If everyone will please mute yourselves except for Jill. I'd like to introduce Jill Drescher, our CFWC Financial Secretary. Jill, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I'm your Financial Secretary, the junior member of the Finance Committee, made up of our President Pam, First Vice President Barbara, Financial Director Reggie, Treasurer Marcia, and myself. I take the minutes at our meetings and prepare our recommendations, which Reggie presents at the Executive Committee, and then are incorporated with other recommendations presented at the board meetings and conventions. My most visible duty is receiving and depositing all money received from dues and approved projects. Right after the recent board meeting, I sent an email to all district presidents and treasurers with our club information form. No, that's the remittance form. The number one, that's it. The data blank, the form for new and late paying members, and dues remittance form. I have also provided you with a copy of these today, which are easily accessible on our website, cfwc.org. I believe most of you are familiar with these forms. The club information form lists incoming and outgoing presidents and the treasurer. There is also useful information regarding the club mailing address and date and time of meetings, which is important for our yearbook. As Reggie will mention later, and it cannot be stressed too often, always use the proper legal name of your club. These forms are usually personally given to district officers at the February board meeting. I asked each district to contact their clubs regarding the payment of dues. Perhaps we should always remind our members that $15 of our dues goes on to GFWC and $4 to CFWC. Most district dues are $4 or less. Affiliate clubs only pay $30 or $45 based on their membership. I know it will be very challenging this year, as it was last year, and I suppose clubs will use some creative methods. I did hear from a couple of districts that they already had the process underway. Probably the question that causes the most consternation is, when are dues due? Historically, clubs brought them to their district conventions in April, and districts brought one check for their clubs to the state convention in May. This year will be different. I'm hoping to get a lot of large envelopes by mail. This year may be a little easier than last with regard to the data blank, as most clubs will be in the middle of their terms, and the club and keeping the same officers. You may note that I think starting last term, the club treasurer signed with the presidents rather than the secretary. I should receive 3 copies of the data blank, as I pass on a copy to Sonia, our second vice president membership, 1 to the yearbook chair, and I keep a copy for my records. There has been some thought that maybe this 3rd copy might be given to the area VP or someone that might make better use of it. Our bylaws say dues are due on or before May 15th and delinquent on June 15th. I am required to advise the district, area, first and second vice presidents, as well as our state president, of clubs who have not paid their dues by June 30th. We have tried to be flexible, but last year could not place the clubs in the yearbook if dues were received after July 31st. After I have received a club information form, all subsequent dues should be sent on the new and late paying form, and that's number 2, together with the dues remittance form. These dues should be sent to me. That's the one that you should send any other, except for the first time you send dues in, together with the dues remittance form, and that's number 3. These dues should be sent to me up to December 15th. Please always send the dues remittance form, which is up on your screen now, with any dues payment. Some districts already have all their clubs listed, which makes it easy to just fill in. The financial secretary also keeps track of the numbers of members broken down by club, district, and area. We have 229 clubs, 14 affiliates in our Emeritus Club. Every time I receive a check for dues, I record the number of members on our Excel program, breaking it down by club, and have a separate column for the deposit. This gives us a good check as they must balance. All dues monies are deposited in a separate savings account. We use the computer program QuickBooks. We advise GFWC of our total membership as of the end of the year, and they then forward an invoice based on our number of members. I am also responsible for making deposits to our general, I'm so sorry, she was outside and someone let her in. I'm also responsible for making deposits to our general checking account and foundation fund checking. These are also done using QuickBooks. The only checks I deposit in the foundation fund checking account are subscriptions to the California Clubwomen. There is also a quarterly distribution from one of our investment portfolios. These funds are for communication and are used to send state officers and chairmen to represent the CFWC at meetings of outside organizations. All other funds are deposited in the general fund checking, which has numerous sub-accounts. Reggie keeps track of them. For example, promotional sales is a sub-account G402 and the art fund G250. One thing that the finance team has been doing this term is taking a closer look at a few of these sub-accounts. We are very concerned about being transparent and want all our members to understand how we are using their dues and other monies received. I don't have anything to do with writing checks. All debits to the accounts are approved by the financial director, Reggie, who then sends warrants to Treasurer Marcia, who writes the checks. I have also provided you with a copy of the donations remittance form, which is number 4. Many of our clubs and districts are generous supporting these causes. Joe Windsor and Helen Tunkus were both past state officers. Any funds in the Joe Windsor account are to be used to purchase equipment for members of the Finance Committee. Helen Tunkus's funds are to be used to spread the word of Federation, as is the Carolyn Severance Fund. Mrs. Severance was very active in Federation back east and then moved across the country to California in the early 1900s, where she was the founder of one of the first clubs in Los Angeles. She supported a club that included men but was controlled by women. Can you imagine that she is still remembered after over 100 years? I hope that many of you will go back and encourage your clubs and districts to support donations, particularly to our Emergency Disaster Fund. Just yesterday, we sent $500 to the Firefighters Burn Institute. Perhaps some of you recall that one of their representatives spoke at our 2019 convention in Sacramento. Dory recalls that he was cute, and we help each other when one of our members is affected. I am responsible to send thank you notes to individuals and organizations that make donations. The financial secretary is responsible for collecting funds for the insurance which we provide our districts. I know Reggie will discuss that in more detail later. I realize my position is much easier since we are not meeting in person, because I would be processing and depositing all funds received for and at these meetings. I didn't accept this position thinking it would be easy. If all goes well, it is a 6-year commitment. Next term, I will be treasurer and then financial director. In closing, maybe one of you will consider applying for my position next term. I promise to be a good mentor. I realize that many of you may not consider this the most exciting position. I was offered another, but this is the one I wanted. And I have no regrets, and I'm happy to be part of the finance team. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks so
much,
much.
Jill. We're going to hold our questions until the very end for these 3 ladies. And next, I would like to introduce Marcia LaRusso, your CFWC treasurer. Marcia.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. What I am going to talk to you about today
is everybody's favorite topic, tax returns. So I just want everybody to know that every club must file a tax return every year. And it's not anything that's really difficult. When you file your return depends on when your tax year ends. Most of us, I would say a great majority of the clubs are on a fiscal year end. So if your club, for instance, goes from June 1st through May 31st, then you would file in 5.5 months, so it'd be October 15th. Now, you can file earlier, but you must file by October 15th. If you're a calendar year, then you're going to file by May 15th. So now, before you even begin to start the process of filing the return, you need to gather some information together so you have it very easily, and it'll make the process go so much quicker. And all that information you will see in the handout that I sent you. On page 2 of the handout, there are 8 items that you will need in order to file your returns. And then in addition, you also should have handy your charitable registration number and your corporate number. Now, the forms that I think that most of the clubs would be able to file is a 990N, which is the e-postcard. On the handouts that I gave you, I let you, it signifies exactly where you go to get these forms, where to fill them out. You just have to follow the directions and it will take you right there. And it's really not anything difficult. Let's see. So if you can file the postcard as long as your gross receipts are $50,000 or less. If they are more than 50,000, then you can file the 990 Easy, which is the short version of the 990. But your gross receipts must be less than 200,000. And if you are fortunate enough to have more than 200,000, then you can file the form 990. And all of these forms are on the website and they're available for you to file. Now, then we go to the state. So once you do all your federal, you do the federal first, then you go to the state. And the state form that is available to file, they have an equivalent postcard also. It's a form 199N. And it's the same criteria, $50,000 or less. Then if you have over 50,000, then you have to file the form 199. And there is a $10 filing fee. Oh, and I want to back up for one short thing. When I discovered on the filing of the 990N this year, IRS wants you to register. They want you to make create a username and a password. And that is how you are going to get in year after year to file your returns. They're not going to go just by the EIN number anymore. So you actually have to create a file with IRS. So that's just a little update for you. Then the other forms that you're going to file for state is Form RRF1, which is filed annually. And if your gross revenues are less than $25,000, then you do not have to pay. There's no fee. Between 25 and 100, the fee is $25. Now,
I am having difficulty, so I would imagine that other people will too. I tried to file, they said you can now file this return online. You can e-file it to them. I was not able to do that. I tried 5 times. I wasn't able to do it. I printed the copy and I'm mailing it to them with the cover letter that I don't understand why their website doesn't work. Now, for those of you who do not file Form 990 or 990EZ, then you must also have, there is another form to fill out, which is the CTTR1, and that's the Annual Treasurer's Report to the Attorney General of California. And what this gives them is some additional information, which are basically balance sheet items that they don't have from just filing the postcard. So now, and those of you who do file a 990 and a 990EZ, you are supposed to attach a copy to the RRF1. And now, I am here to help you if you have problems filling out your tax returns. Probably, maybe some of you do have problems that will not be able to be answered today, but you can call me on the phone or you can email me. Now, the other thing that we are promoting, and we want to make sure that clubs are doing this, is the application for registration for nonprofit raffle program. So anybody who has a raffle in their club must register with the Office of the Attorney General. The form is a CTNPR1. And you must fill out this form 60 days prior to, oh, that's not me, Pam. You must fill out this form 60 days prior to your scheduled date of the raffle. And they even tell you that you are not supposed to start selling until you have confirmation from the Attorney General that they have accepted your filing. So the registration period, I don't know why they do such an odd one, but the registration period for conducting raffles is September 1st through August 31st. So anytime in that time frame, you have to have your raffle filed every year. And then you must do a report by October 1st for that registration period. And that report is the CTNRP2. And all of these forms are available online. So you won't have any problem finding them. And I just want to touch on one thing. If for some reason you haven't filed, your club hasn't filed for 3 years, you will automatically use your tax exempt status. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. It's just, that's just the rule. So you can be reinstated with IRS, but you have to file some forms and you have to pay a fee. So the forms that you would complete would be a form 1023. All of that information also is on the IRS website. There are probably about 2 pages that explain how to reinstate yourself. So I want to just say, if somebody hasn't filed for 2 years, all you have to do is file all of the years, and then you won't have to worry about being your tax exempt being revoked. So just if you feel you haven't, you should all have copies too. You should make sure you keep copies. So people down the line can see that, yes, the returns have been filed and you have proof that you filed them. So that is what we want. And so if you have problems with this, I can, I'll be able to help you that on a case-by-case basis. So that is all I have for today.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Our last speaker today is the Director of Finance, Reggie Maddox. Reggie.
Thank you, Pam. I am going to give you a few scattered points. I think the girls speaking previous to me have done a fabulous job talking about their topics, and I'm highly impressed with these girls. They do a fabulous job. Thank you. The first thing that I really want to say is there's a lot of things that you have to keep the financial health of your club in very good condition. And we're going to go over some of the basic things that may help to keep this health in your club very good. One of the things that we, as mentioned before, and I want to mention it again, is that you need to keep your legal name and use it on all your forms. The legal name of your club should be written on the form that you send to Jill at the beginning with your dues. It needs to be put in any request that you send to me, and it needs to be on your tax forms, and make sure it's the same name every time. If it says the Women's Club of ABC, then make sure that's what it is. Don't say the ABC Women's Club sometimes and Women's Club of ABC another. So make sure it's always consistent. And that is really important for a lot of reasons, but just make sure to do that. The secondly is you need to know if your club is a 501c3 or a 501c4 or neither one, or what it is. Both of those questions should be able to be answered very easily, and they should be listed in your Article 1 or Article 2 of your bylaws. If they are not in your bylaws, I would consider doing a bylaw revision this year and putting them there. There are lots of people that can help you with the revision of your bylaws, your district parliamentarian, and of course your state parliamentarian, Valerie Barnes, I'm sure would be willing to help you. Our state bylaws start right out with the name of the organization and the purposes of it, which is compliance with the 501c3. And then they also give the EIN number, which is a good idea to put into your very beginning of your bylaws. So you have all of that information for all of the club's members to know exactly what it is and where they can find that information. So take a look at those, at your bylaws, and see if that information is in there. And ask around in maybe even your district has some other clubs who are have that in there, and they'll give you some ideas on how the wording may go. Then I had some questions this year about 501c3s and 4s. And so that was my handout that I sent you in your accompanying documents. I'm not going to go over that today because you can all read, and you can find that information also on the websites. I think that with this COVID, that the websites have been really updated and has some good information both on IRS and the Attorney General. But there are a couple of things that really need to be emphasized as you're reading those through. If you are a 501c3, then if someone donates money to your club, then they can deduct that from their income tax. And so but if you are a 501c4 and someone or an organization or something donates money to you, that is not tax deductible. So please be aware of that. The other big difference, and we've talked about this a lot, I think, is that the 501c3s cannot support political candidates and be politically active, where the 501c4s, that is part of their, the difference that they can be. And there is, that is all outlined in those two websites that you can look. We don't have very many 501c4s, but I do know that we do have a couple, and they should probably begin looking at joining 501c3 because they're more in compliance than with the GF bylaws and would be more be able to be under our umbrella. 501c4s cannot be under our umbrella. And that's the next question that I'm asked a lot. How do I get under your 501c3 umbrella? And there are some things that you need to do if you want to be under our umbrella and you're not under that right now. You can find out if you're under our umbrella by going onto the website under the heading resources and look in that document under the clubs, forgot the title of it all of a sudden, the clubs that are under the umbrella, and it says the California designated clubs. But anyway, if you look there, you can see your name, and if it's not there, then you're not under our umbrella. That has needs to be updated, and I will be doing that as soon as I'll probably have to put an addendum to it because it can't be, the original document can't be updated. But here's how you get under the umbrella. You write a letter to me, and you have to be a 501c3 in good standing with all of your taxes paid. And the second thing you have to do is your organization in the bylaws must describe your club as a charitable, of a charitable nature, serving the community, and that in the event of dissolution, it will be, all the assets will be given to another 501c3 organization. And that has to be stated in the bylaws. So when you write the letter, you should enclose the bylaws, and you can send them to me by email too, so that I can see the bylaws, that's what your bylaws say. A lot of clubs will say in their bylaws that they're a social service organization in compliance with the 501c3 description. So that kind of covers it. Also, I need in that letter the name and address of a club contact so that the IRS can get back to them. And then when you send that, and I have looked at it all and it's in compliance, then I send a letter to the IRS requesting that you be placed under our umbrella. On the website, it says right now that the IRS is about a year behind in all their paperwork. So if you've sent anything in like late tax filings, and I've sent letters about putting you under our umbrella and on, you may not hear from them for a while, but we hope that we'll hear soon, but they're way behind. After you are under our umbrella, one thing that is very important, we do not file your taxes for you. You must still file your taxes, both state and federal taxes. You must still do your raffle permit because that is all up to you. I do send you a letter of determination that you can present to any organization so that you can, if they want to give you money, then you are under, that tells them you're under our umbrella. Also, the letter of determination frequently gives you better standing in a competition for a grant, so you might be able to get a grant more easily. And so there are those are some of the advantages. And then if you are under our umbrella, because you are part of a larger group, it's more impressive to those offering those grants. So that is the main reason people like to join that. And then you're under our tax exemption too number. So that helps also. You don't have to file for your own tax exempt number. I will say that I think, and maybe I already said this once, the Attorney General and the IRS websites have added a lot more information this last year and are really complete, and a lot of questions can be answered. I do not recommend that you write letters to them asking your questions or that you email them. My experience in emailing was not positive because although it said email your questions to this address, I never got a response. My best way of getting a response from either one of these organizations was a telephone call. And yes, you have to wait a little while, but at least you got to talk to a person. So I think if you really have an urgent question, that would be the best way to get an answer. The other thing in the Attorney General's of California, they have a handbook entitled Attorneys General Guide for Charities. And it looks like this. I don't know if I can even show you that, but that's the title of it. I thought for a while that I saw it on our website or in QuickBooks, it popped up. It's quite a few pages to print, but it is a very good book. And any of you that are nonprofit and have any, well, you're all nonprofit, but if you have any questions, I would definitely go to that website and look your questions up in that book because it's very, very complete. Another thing along the same line is that was in Quick Bites this week was handy hints for member clubs. And that is a document, it's a one-page document that our lawyers, Hackler, Flynn, and Associates reviewed some of our problems and points. And that document is made specially for our clubs, addressing some of our issues, and especially in order for us to keep our tax exempt status. It talks a little bit about raffles and tax filings and things, but it does address some of the issues that we've had questions about before. And so our law firm did have that out. And that is, if you go into Quick Bites, you'll see that link and click on that, print it out so it'll be in your files, and then you can read that. There are two of them. We had one done last year and one done this year. So take a look at those two papers because they are good. Back to your bylaws for a minute. I have a question in your bylaws. Do you have term limits for your financial positions? This might be something you want to consider. Or does your financial positions in your club, like they run for 10 years or 15 years and that person's still in that same position? Might be something to think about. And the other question I have for you that might be addressed in your bylaws also is, how are your books audited? Or are they audited? If you're a very large club with a lot of money, I know that a couple of clubs that I know that have large fundraisers, they do have a professional CPA doing their taxes and their books, and I think that's very wise. You really do need to have a professional person doing that because you don't want to get caught up in a tax mess. But the clubs I worry about the most are the smaller clubs. The clubs with a few members and they think, oh, I don't have that much money anyway. I trust everybody in the club. Oh, Mary's or Susie or whoever is doing a great job. I don't think we have to worry. And they don't have the books audited and they let that person do all the taxes. And then what if something happens to that person? Nobody knows how to do the taxes. Nobody knows how to file for the raffle. This one person has been doing it all the time. We need to keep somebody in training. We should not keep that job to the same person all the time. And then the other thing is, and this leads me into insurance, what happens if that person maybe isn't 100% honest? Do you have bonding insurance for your club and district? And this is really important. Very sobering to think about, but extremely, extremely important. Bonding insurance covers the officers and members handling money. And I highly recommend it. In my district, and I don't know a lot about other districts, in my district, we have a bonding insurance that the district takes out, and it covers officers and people handling money in the clubs and the district, and we split it among everybody equally. So that works out well for us. If you don't have that within your district and the clubs have to do it by themselves, it's well worth the money to do it. And I highly recommend you look into bonding insurance, because we don't want to think that anyone would take money that they wasn't earned or wasn't theirs, but it does happen and it has happened, and we need to be very cautious. Liability insurance is the other one that's also important. The CFWC has a policy that is for CFWC and district events. And that is and the districts pay a certain amount based on the number of people in their district, number of members in their district. This covers liability for district events and state events. If a club holds an event, that liability does not cover them. Your clubs should purchase a liability insurance. It runs, GF has a policy that you can get under purchase for your club. They usually run between $300 and $400. A lot of clubs may say, well, I can't afford that. And my question is, can you afford $1 million lawsuit if someone gets hurt? Be responsible and look into bonding and liability insurance. I think that concludes my report, Madam Chairman, and we're going to be open for questions. Thank you, ladies. I hope that this was worthwhile for you.
Thank you, Reggie. That was great. So ladies, we are going to open up for questions. You're going to have to unmute yourselves as you are called by Sonia Holtz. And these ladies are here to answer anything that you have to ask regarding finances. Please no show and tell today, telling us how you do it in your club or your district. Let's keep it strictly to questions regarding today's presentation. Sonia, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Reggie a question. Reggie, did you want them to say your name, which person they wanted directed to, or you just want the question first?
I think the person that they want to direct it to, because I think like Marcia does better with the tax questions and so forth. So whoever brought up the subject that they would want to address, I think that would be the best way.
Okay, thank you so much. So everyone, if you would say the person that you're directing the question to and then your question, that would be amazing. We're going to start with Patsy. Patsy Wilson has a question.
Yes, I did. I think I was going to say Reggie, but I guess it's directed towards Marcia. Is it typical for when you file your 990, your e-postcard, that the name to come back as California Federation of Women's Club rather than your club name?
Marcia, are you going to answer that, or it depends?
Marcia, you're muted. Please unmute, Marcia.
Background is we filed our Form 990N using our EIN number and our California Corporation ID, and the response back from the state said, see name of organization, California Federation of Women's Clubs.
That might be because you're under our umbrella, Patsy.
Okay, so that is typical. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Patsy. Next is Joanne Mitchell. Joanne.
Hello, my question is to Reggie. I'm a treasurer of a local club. It has to do with the auditor. We have a professional CPA that does our taxes and handles our affairs, so we don't worry.
Good.
We haven't filled the auditor position yet, and typically it's just been a member of the club who looks over my work and, you know, just kind of puts a stamp on it. Is that okay that we do it that way?
But you actually have a CPA that really audits the books and does the.
She prepares the report every month for us.
Yes, I think that's because what you're talking about is the person at your club is really just a, kind of rubber stamping what he's doing, but not really. He's really the one that's doing the auditing
Okay,
in real life.
so
in
we're
real truth,
comfortable with the CPA then.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next question is Linda. Linda, you have a question? Unmute, please.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll direct this just to Reggie. When, excuse me, when you showed the book guide for charities, I think that might have been the one that I ran across the other day. I believe in there, was that where it was saying that we do, as a 501c3, have to donate 90%, like from our fundraisers that we have, 90% goes to philanthropy, and then the other 10% goes into our operating expenses? Or is that 90% after our expenses that we would donate to 501c3s?
Linda, I believe that you're getting two things mixed up. Fundraisers, there is no percentage attached to them, as far as I know. You're speaking, I believe, of raffles, where the raffle is 90% of the gross has to go back to the charity.
Okay, so that's just strictly on raffles, but if you had a fundraiser that was not classified as a raffle.
Yeah, like a garage sale or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that you can, that's different.
Okay, and I have one more question for
No,
you.
I think we're just having one question at a
Oh,
time.
I'm
Linda.
sorry.
Wait till
Thank
the
you,
end and maybe
Linda.
there'll be a time.
No problem.
All right, we're moving on to Abby. Abby, you had a question?
Yes, Sonia, thank you. My question is directed to Reggie. How frequently should the clubs update the letter of determination for the umbrella? I have viewed the diamond bar has been there for quite some time, but the information has not been updated.
I can send you another one. I will change the date on it, but the what it says is exactly the same thing.
Okay. Is it
So-
recommended to do that frequently, each term of presidency, or no?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it any more than each term of presidency, unless that agency inquired that they wanted one that was dated that particular year.
Okay.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Myrna. Myrna, you had a question?
Yes, Jill, for an affiliate club, where do we report that? I know we don't report the members because we'd be double reporting. We just send in our, how many members we have, our 30 or 45, but where would we put that, for the treasurer to send in?
I recall it. I think it's been put right on the club information form, because you would still have a president and a treasurer, and it just put the amount is generally been $30.
Right, yeah.
Correct, then somebody can.
That's what we've been paying.
Because on my Excel sheets, I just put the amount down, the one amount.
So basically where it says district dues, current number of members, I think I'd leave that blank because, as I say, I don't want double reporting, but then I'd put, just $30 as a total.
That's what I would.
Okay.
I would do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Myrna. We appreciate that. Our next question comes from Terry Cook.
My question is for Marcia, and it's more of a confirmation. When you were talking about the forms you have to complete when you're having a raffle and the period of time that you've completed, is that for, you could have 5 or 6 raffles during the year, or do you have to fill one out for each raffle?
No, you just have to fill it out once, and it's for that time period that I said, September 1st through August 31st.
Thank you, Terry. The next question comes from Hillary. Hillary, you has a question?
I do. Thank you. I am brand new to being treasurer as of like days. So I think my question is going to Jill. Jill, you kept mentioning QuickBooks. Does each club have their own, or is there some one that you can join, or is there a deal, or?
No, that's the computer program that the state uses to keep track of our deposits. Excuse me.
Okay.
Just wants to be.
Yeah, because I'm just about to move the club to an online QuickBooks.
Well, then I think whatever works for you is what you should do. For
Okay.
years, I personally used Quicken, but this is very much like it. So it's not.
Okay.
Thank you, Hillary, and welcome
you.
to the team.
Yeah.
All right, Hillary. Our next question comes from Judy. Judy, you have a question.
Yeah, hi, I'm with the Titan Owners Club and I'm the financial trustee. And I have a question for Reggie. When we do an internal audit, or when an internal audit needs to be done, we do our own books. Who all is involved in that audit besides, is it just the treasurer or is it financial secretary? Do you have the reporting secretary? What positions are involved with the audit?
Well, usually, in most clubs, when you have an auditor, the auditor takes the books of the treasurer and the financial secretary, if you have both of them, and goes over them and compares them and studies them. You need to compare the receipts for all the income and the checks for all the expenses and make sure it all balances, and make recommendations if they're not using receipts or if they're not using invoices to verify the checks being written or something like that, and then give that report. But she usually does it herself. There's not a committee, or I suppose there could be a committee, but I've never heard of the, and I might be all totally wrong on this, but that's the way that we have done that, was just that person, not the actual people that wrote the book or did the books, be involved in auditing them.
Oh, no, I understand that, but what books need to be audited? But the recording secretary, there's motions that are being made. Should that not coincide with the checks that are written, or when you have, does that need to be audited too? That's why a question about the recording secretary.
The motions that have been made, is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean, does that have to be verified that you've got the membership okay to spend that money?
Well, yeah, that would be part of that warrants that would be written,
Okay.
or, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Our next question comes from Ginger. Ginger, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much. My question is directed towards Marcia, and it's regarding that California Form CTTR1. And my question is, and I'm the treasurer for the Cypress Club, how are clubs, or how should you really handle non-cash contributions?
You just need to report that there is a line that you report non-cash
Right.
contributions, and you just need to report the amount there.
But how do you know what the amount is? I mean,
That's a tricky part. So what that really entails is, when they're talking about non-cash, they're talking about food, clothing, medical supplies. And I would say it coincides with what the clubs report under in-kind donations. It should,
Okay.
that should be the same type.
Okay.
For
Okay,
that
thank you.
question, we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, our next question comes from Diane. Diane, you had a question?
Yes, and this has to do with not filing all of those papers. Who is that? Should I talk to Reggie?
Oh, I don't know. You can talk to me. We'll give it to Marcia if I can't answer it. How's that
All
sound?
right. if a club files 990s, the income tax papers, and they do nothing in the way of fundraising, is it really necessary that they file all the others? Like the RRF ones?
So what do you say?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
In other words, you're saying they don't have any income. Is that what you're saying?
Right, very, yeah.
They
Just
still have to
dues.
file.
They
Just
still have to
dues.
file.
Yeah,
Do what?
you still have to file.
Okay, and who should I talk to if we never have?
Oh. Well, you're going to have.
Besides a lawyer.
You're going to have to file those. It depends on how long it's been since you filed them, because you have to go back and probably reinstate it, because you might have lost your 501c3.
But does it matter if we don't have a fundraising? Does it matter if we're 501c3?
What have you filed so far?
990, whatever the 990s are.
Oh, all right. So at least you filed your federal form, but
Right.
you're saying you haven't filed any state forms?
Right.
Well, you still have to
Not
do-
even the 199?
It's possible we did. I'd have to check. I haven't looked for a while.
Okay.
I haven't been
You-
treasurer
you-
for
You
several
may,
years.
and you do have to fill out that form. I would suggest you fill out the RRF1 now.
Okay,
And go back as far as 3 years,
okay,
okay? And then send it in and see what they say, because, and if you haven't had any money, there's no money due, so there should be no problem.
okay.
All right,
All right.
but you really need to, that's something that's supposed to be filed every year. What
Yeah.
about the S1-100? Are you incorporated?
I'd have to check. I don't remember.
Okay.
It's been a
'cause
while since I've been treasurer.
I didn't go over that. It's in my notes, but I didn't go over that one. That one's due every 2 years if you're incorporated.
And I don't think we do that. I'll have to check. I'll
Okay.
check on all this.
I would just suggest that you just do it and send it in.
Okay.
And your
All right.
bylaws should tell you if you're incorporated, and then you should have articles of incorporation in that same yearbook.
Okay, I'll look and see.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
we're kind of at the end of our hour. That gives us a chance to do a wrap up with all three speakers. Let's start with Jill. Jill, did you have anything that you wanted to speak about now that you heard the questions? Unmute, please.
What's a problem that had come up in my districts, I think that some of the clubs, if you think you have a problem, you have to make sure you can check and see if you've lost anything. Maybe you haven't ever had it, but that's why we're there to help the people sort of work through. I have one club, I'm not sure that they ever did were ever incorporated. So that makes the problem, I think, a little easier, but we're working on it.
Thank you, Jill. Our next wrap up would come from Marcia. Marcia, any comments now that you heard the questions?
Just please file. That's all I ask everybody to do. And if you do have any problems, please call me or email me, and I will be very happy to walk you through it or anything that you have a problem with.
Thank you, Marcia. The next is Reggie. Reggie?
I think they asked wonderful questions, and I was really pleased with the questions. I think they were paying a lot of attention. I want to mention one thing. If you can't, our information is not on the website. So make sure that you have to go to a yearbook, and I'm hoping that you all know where a yearbook is in your club or at least in your district. And if you don't have a yearbook that you can get a hold of, because that's how you're going to find our phone numbers and our email addresses and things is in a yearbook, not on the website. So you can send a message to us through the website by that general email, but that's the only way. But do please contact us for any questions.
Fantastic. Can we all give them a round of applause for all the hard work that they do? We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Just as a segue into emails, the communications group has a new email for all of you to use for photos and articles and information that you're doing at your club. If you do something that you would like us to know about, please send the photos in. Give me the who, what, when, where, and why. And the new email address is this. It's CFWC Communications with an S at gmail.com, and we would be happy to publish what you're sending. So please, pictures, articles, what you're doing in your club. And then for Quick Bites, if you are not signed up for Quick Bites, please go to cfwc.org. Every single member that's a member of the CFWC should be part of Quick Bites. It is the way we live our lives up here, I'll tell you. So every calendar, every note goes into that newsletter every week. We have a new CA Clubwoman editor, and she's asking for articles. If you have any articles that you'd like to send up to the CA Clubwoman, again, use the CFWC Communications at gmail.com, and we would be happy to have those articles. And we can't wait for you to meet Lou at the convention. All right, back to you, Pam.
Thank you. What a great hour. Barbara Briley Beard, do you have anything to add?
Just that it was fantastic. We always learn something. So thank
That's
you very
right.
much to the finance team. You are a wealth of information, and we all know where to find you. So thank you very much.
Yes, and it's important that email that does come from the website. Please know that I monitor that twice a day, and I do send it to the people that those emails should be getting to. I personally do that. I'm going to ask Lynn Youngstrom to come in and talk about the few workshops that are left before we let you go, Lynn.
Okay, thank you, Pam. We do have openings in the remaining workshops. All you have to do is just, if you have not requested them, send your requests to reservations with an S, cfwc@gmail.com, and I will send you an invitation back. Please look at Quick Bites starting this Monday, and then for the next 3 weeks that we're having a new format for our next set of workshops in April, and it will be explained on Quick Bites. So please take a look at that.
Yep. We're going to be switching to evenings for the month of April. I've had several requests from our working members to do evening workshops, and so we're going to be offering 5 of those. I hope that you have all seen the call to convention, which hit yesterday and today. It was sent out to the board and to every club president. If you did not get the call, you're going to be able to find it on Quick Bites. Barbara's holding hers up. She's already printed it. We hope that you're going to join us at convention on May. We've got things happening the 12th through the 15th. Thank you for coming today. We will see you for the next workshop. And until then, bye-bye, take care, be safe, and get those vaccines done, ladies.